Alright. Well, it's been a while since I've been in the office here. I've been a bit under the weather, as is like everyone in the office. I've been away at CES and doing this road trip through LA and Phoenix and stuff. It's been awesome, but also you've only been getting all these recorded videos. So hello, I'm Alex Glow from Hackster.io, in case you forgot. And it's Throwback Thursday. So, I recently received my last package from the Boldport Club, which is changing, as you can see in this blog post. And so I thought that I would take a look at some of the many kits that I have accrued and never yet put together. And I think it's time to fix that. So my friend Ned first introduced me to Boldport Club with the TAP kit, which we assembled like a couple of years ago, maybe. Oh boy, I should look that up actually. I'll put the link under this video. And it was, I think, one of the first big like soldering projects that I did on the channel, and those have always been popular, and I love doing them. So I thought today would be a good day to go back to that. Boldport Club is basically a subscription art PCB club. These would be circuits and things that do useful or cool or interesting stuff, or in one case, don't do anything at all but look really pretty. Star Dreamer, the creator, created this program called PCB Mod-E or PCB Mode so that you can create sort of artistic PCBs before it became more of a fad. And he addresses a bit of that in his post about how the club is changing. So instead of it being like a monthly subscription, now anyone can order back kits that were sent out before, and some other things have changed, partly because of the whole instability around Brexit, partly because of, you know, other expectations and things, and just the way that the world goes. So there's plenty that you can read about in the blog post, which I've linked in the description to this video. And I thought that we would first start by taking apart, like just opening some of these things. But while I have you, quickly, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, art PCBs and whatnot, be sure to join our contest, which is still currently going. It's hackster.io/contest/badge-love. And if you have something that you've designed that you love, please do submit it. It's a contest that we're co-running with Oshpark, who are super awesome. Shout out to Drew, and Autodesk. So also stay tuned for more tutorials, including our past one from Andrew Soa. So the first one that I want to show is one that I've read a bunch about. Actually, no. Okay. So that same friend that I just told you about apparently never put together this tiny superhero, engineer superhero emergency kit. And this is actually a fun one because I have this coaster that I got when I visited SAR in London maybe a couple years now ago, and I still haven't managed to transcribe and blog up the conversation that we have, but I will someday. I was trying to get it done for today, but that always happens. Anyway, so we've got this like little expando sponge for soldering with. You've got a sticker, super cool. You've got this little guy, and basically you would solder these components into the board, and then when you need them, you just break them off. So I'm not going to assemble this one right now, or maybe I will, who knows. I'll do it in a second, but I want to show you some more things before we get to soldering. My absolute favorite one of all time, and the reason that I joined the Boldport Club and took the plunge, is this. This is the Monarch. To me, this is the first piece of PCB art that I saw, and I was just like, wow, that's incredible. So a big part of PCB Mod-E is that it allows you, with Inkscape, to create these gorgeous, sinuous, flowing lines, or any design that you want. And SAR has this big philosophy about how, you know, maybe like these traces aren't always optimal for in case you were doing like high frequency radio or something, but we're not in this case. We're doing a little, I think it's a binary counter, I forget. And so you can sort of play with it and have some fun and put in these little butterflies and stuff and the Boldport logo and not have to worry about it. And what this does is that, oh, is it out of battery? Wow. I must have demonstrated this enough that it's actually run out of battery. But normally you'll see the LEDs soldered on top, but if you solder them on the bottom, you get this beautiful diffused effect through the PCB, and you'll see that it has these little resistor legs that hold it up and also work as functional resistors. So, you know, instead of having a single resistor of like 100 ohms or whatever it would be, you have two 50 ohm ones in series, and it does the same thing. Let's see if I can't get this thing to light up real quick. I know that I put away some little coin cell batteries earlier today. Come back here. Hopefully one of these is gonna have some charge, because it's such a beautiful piece that I want you to be able to see what it looks like when it's lit up. There we go. And so, yeah, it sort of randomly lights up different ones each time. And you get these cool little spots of light underneath. And when you touch the antennae together, they change. It's just a really gorgeous piece of PCB art. And I soldered this live, and you can find it on the Hackster channel. Yeah, just a classic and incredibly gorgeous. It always catches I have it on display in the office, and it catches everyone's eye when they come in. Plus they did that cool thing with like the grass where it looks like an actual, you know, naturalistic environment for it. So cool. Oh, it's gotta be one of my favorite things ever. I also want to, so this one is not a functional PCB. This is just a straight up piece of art that Sar created, and it's called The Dreamer, which I haven't seen before in person, and which I think is interesting because his last name is Dreamer, and so I'm kind of wondering if it's a play on that, but let's open this up and take a look. He wrote, as with everything, there's a page for it, and, oh, you know, I don't want to show you that before we open it up. Too late, but okay. I should make a really, like, badass letter knife or something like that. The packaging on these things is always splendid. Is there something else in there, or is it, no, that's just the card backing. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, wow. So there's a little note in here. Many doodling elements that dominate my notebook since forever. One of 580 from a limited edition run. Doop-de-doo. Converted into PCB form after doodling on a card using fine pens. It was scanned and then traced to vector form. Converted into PCB form using Inkscape and PCB Mod E. Plus some artistic features and textures to exemplify this PCB plus art hybrid. Very cool. Wow, I really feel like I'm sort of opening something very rare and precious. I don't want to like tear this envelope even. Some obnoxious people are honking horns outside. Kind of ruining the moment. You're kind of ruining the moment, guys. Well, whatever. It's always the case in a city, right? Ooh, it's thick. Interesting. Designed by Star Dreamer, London, May 2018. Manufactured by Eurocircuits. Look at that gold. And ta-da! On the other side, we have matte black and white and gold. Beautiful color combo. And it's just kind of an abstract rendering of a drawing. Really nice. That's beautiful. That will definitely adorn our little studio here. Gorgeous. So let's see. I have two other things up here that I was considering soldering. There's the Krell synthesizer and the Conehead, which is, you know, let's do this because it's another little bug and I love those. As I mentioned, oh, I'm gonna have to blur out that address. All right. Anyway, so this, he's done like a series of insect-themed PCBs, and this is one of them. Perhaps the final one, including other ones that are like, actually don't remember what the other ones are, but yeah, obviously the monarch that we just looked at. Doop, doop, doop. Come off. He always pays attention to the packaging as well as everything else. Check that out. Super cute. Rip this guy open. And, cool. The Conehead. Get started. Boldport.com/Conehead. Wow, neat. I like the aesthetic of this one. It's a little bit more grungy. So underneath this grass, we have a bunch of components. And a sticker! Look at it! That's so cute! Oh wow, that's adorable. And it's like textured. It makes me want to scratch and sniff it. Look at that weird texture. It smells like a sticker. Okay. So here we have a bunch of components. There's a speaker. This is a synthesizer, by the way. It makes little chirping noises, I think. So what have we got? We've got a bunch of resistors of the same value. We've got a little switch. We've got a diode. We've got a speaker. Capacitor. Bunch more little capacitors. Here we go. Little chip. We've got a coin cell battery holder. We've got an LED and a couple pieces of wire. He often includes structural wire in these things. And, for example, with the Monarch, there was a piece of sort of heavy-duty wire that was included for the antennae. But also there's these other little connectors, and these are actually made from little cast-offs from clipping off the resistor legs. So, and the LED legs, I think. So a lot of thought goes into the design of these, like, you know, reusing parts that otherwise would be thrown away, these little wires and stuff. So let's take a look at the page for this one. Here's the Dreamer page again. And we've got the Conehead pulled up here. Such beautiful design. I guess the antenna sort of thing is similar on here. What I love about this is it's another 3D one. Look at this. Oh, I definitely have to put this together. And it uses the same sort of leg system as well. Oh, wow. They can be friends. It's just so creative and so fun. So the other ones in the series are the Lady and the Gent, as well as the Monarch. We'll look at those in a second. So this one uses 3 oscillators interacting with each other to create the distinctive sound of a cricket. Using a small speaker and a phototransistor, the cricket will change its chirping frequency depending on the amount of light it sees. So I don't know if you're familiar with urban legends around Kansas or Ohio, but in places where I grew up, it is known to, or it's said that crickets change the frequency of their chirping depending on the temperature outside, which is, you know, vaguely plausible. You know, maybe they sort of, their metabolisms slow down when it gets colder or something, and so they chirp more slowly. And so this is operating on a similar principle. So is this a photodiode then, or where's the photodiode? I mean, this is a diode, but it's not a photodiode. Let's see, so what have we got? We've got a little speaker. I'm just going to go down the list here and see if we can do it by process of elimination. We've got our speaker. We've got the Schmidt trigger inverter, which is our chip. We've got the 2 little, or here's the electrolytic capacitor. It's this guy. You know what? I think I can look at show you both of these at the same time. If I, yes. Haha. I'll have to put that back later and it's gonna be a pain, but oh well. Okay, so we've got the electrolytic capacitor. There's no way you can read that. But let's put it up here and pretend. Electrolytic capacitor, this guy. And here are the other ones that we talked about. So, then we have 4 ceramic capacitors. 2 of them are the same. And then we have 2 other ones. One is 1 microfarad and the other one's 0.01 microfarads. So, one says 103 on it and one says 105 on it, and these read much the same that resistors do, except I think they're listed in picofarads or something. So the one with 5 on it has more zeros tacked onto the end, so it's going to be larger. And I don't have to know too specifically what they are. So the one that's labeled 103 is going to be the 1 microfarad, and the 0.01 microfarad is the one labeled 105. Okay, let's actually focus a little better for you here, because this is pretty interesting actually. 103 is our 0.01 microfarad, and 105 is our 0.01 microfarad. Wait, no, it's our 1 microfarad. I'm telling lies. I'm not telling lies, I'm just, okay, whatever. Anyway. So, what else have we got? We've got 12 of these resistors that are all the same, so that's easy. We've got 1 to 20 ohm resistor. I don't actually see that, but that's easily fixable. I can find that with no problem. 1 2032 battery holder, this guy. 1 small signal diode, this guy. 1 switch. Okay, so this is a photodiode. Okay. Or a phototransistor. Really? Cool. So then we just have to try and find a 220 ohm resistor, because I don't think either it wasn't in the bag or I lost it. Now normally they're very good about this, so probably I just lost it. Fortunately, I have a big binder full of resistors here, and we can take a look. Resistors! So I've got these sort of tucked into these little, here we go, 220 ohms. Tucked into these little business card holders in here. And we just bought a big kit full of resistors. So I can pull out this guy. They're arranged by resistance. Throw that in the pile. And there we go. All right, so phototransistor, and then the 2 little bits of, what is it, 20 American wire gauge wire. Circuit uses a mix of surface mount and through-hole components. Surface mount components are the switch and the main chip. All the others are larger through-hole parts. So they very helpfully give us an assembly guide with the order of assembly included. Before starting, break the panel in 3 and smooth out the breakpoints. And it kind of tells you how to do that. Haha, cool. And then there's all this like extra stuff that you can do with it. Oh, it's so good. So. So there's 2 pages of this assembly guide. And I shall show it to me larger, please. I'm going to narrow this so you can actually see what I'm doing, hopefully. Yes, good. I mean, that's close enough. Oh no. Moving around the wrong window. There we go. Okay, cool. So I've got this GitHub page open that has the assembly guide on it. And so we are first going to put on the little capacitors, and yeah. Although first, actually, what we're gonna do is break this guy apart. And I'm gonna take my little side cutters here and just kind of try to break these off. And kind of smooth them down in a very hacky sort of way. It's been all rainy here in San Francisco, and that's kind of great. It also kind of makes me sleepy. So whatevs. All right. So here we have our bits. I wonder if I can make this a little bit smaller. Can I? Yes, good. And I'm going to size it down again so that we don't have it encroaching on the rest of the video. Very good. Okay, so we're up here with the capacitors right now. And what we do first is put on this guy. I'm gonna have to cut them shorter. That's okay. So with capacitors, with electrolytic capacitors, there's a couple different ways to tell its polarity. And first up, like with resistors, or LEDs, my bad, you have a long leg and a short leg, and the short leg corresponds to the negative side. However, also, that's kind of glaring, isn't it? However, also you have this little stripe on here, which always indicates negative as well. So, see how there's no stripe, and then suddenly there's a stripe! Yeah, that's your negative side. So, we can easily tell, even after we chop off the legs, how, or which side is going to be positive and which is negative. So where does this go? Usually has really nice sort of guides and instructions for where to put these. So we've got 3 of them all lined up here. And the red arrow in the guide says pay attention to polarity. Right now it's pointing at the negative side being sort of up here, so that's what we're going to do. And first I'm going to tin my little pads here. My soldering iron is currently warming up, so I'm going to chop the legs off of my other 2 little ceramic capacitors. Ooh, did I just lose one? No, okay. I'm normally pretty good about this, but... Oh, and these other little guys are 104s, so they're going to be 0.1 microfarads. Cool. Wow, that gets really tiny, doesn't it? So it goes the electrolytic one, and then the 105, and then the 103. So let's tin all of these. And then also, where these other capacitors go. Time to install this stuff. There's also a little plus on here that tells me which leg is which. I could probably have spread these apart a little bit more, but whatevs. Pardon my sniffling. 105 next. And then 103. I'll try and get these lined up with the diagram a little bit better. It's not super good. It could be pressed down more, but it's a good connection, so. I did grab some tweezers in case it gets too hot to handle. Ooh, like that. I'm gonna add a little bit more solder just so that those have nice strong joints. Because at this point it's held down by 2 solder joints, which means that I can monkey with one of them at a time and it won't come off the board. Cool. Time for the other 2 capacitors. I've been editing so much video lately, and it's come to my attention that I've had to edit out a bajillion ums and uhs. I don't know about you, but I periodically forget about that being an issue with public speaking, or semi-quasi alone speaking, honestly. Most of the time when I'm recording a bunch of videos in a row, it's sort of me alone in a dead office. But, yeah, so semi-public speaking, you definitely have that issue plaguing you. So I'm really trying not to, but feel free to keep count and let me know how many you hear during the course of this video. I want this to be a little bit shorter. That doesn't count, by the way. So what was I up to? We were in Vegas for CES. That was pretty fantastic. I've got a bunch of videos that haven't managed to put up yet just because we've been doing this sort of 2018 wrap-up stuff, which has been really fun. I hope you watch those videos. I just put the last one up last night / this morning. So that was a series of, there we go with the Oz. That was a series of, of 4 videos about the best projects of 2018. We have this list. And, oh, I did it again. This list of really cool projects that came out in the past year. And I sort of divided them up into 4 separate categories. And those were robots, and AI and assistants, your custom curated hacker game night, and art projects. So if you're interested in any of those genres, go check out those videos, and you'll get a bunch of inspiration from the past year. And ideally, you will be inspired to make something and upload it so that next year I will have something to talk about. Cool. So that's all our capacitors done. What's next? We've got the diode, the switch, and the chip. So let's see where those are going. The diode is going with its little ground marker, the little black stripe pointing down. So let's cut that. When you're dealing with components that come on this paper tape, there's a couple ways you can handle it. And one of them is to just pull the paper tape off. But that tends to end up with a bunch of adhesive kind of left on the legs. Plus, you'll probably end up clipping that off anyway. So typically, it's recommended that you just clip it off from the start. Then we've got the chip next. That's going to be a little bit of a pain, but that's fine. And then next is the switch. Maybe I'll do the chip first so that I have a lot of wiggle room for the other things. Normally it's not super desirable to solder your chip directly to a board just because that can damage its logic. And so you would put on a little socket first and simply insert the chip into that. However, in this case, aesthetics are kind of at a premium. Though the Monarch did have sockets that kind of bridged the space between its wings, but what else? Got a bunch of solder built on this iron, so... Oh no! I made a bridge. Come off. Another one. Okay, close enough. Alright, so the chip's orientation, use the tweezers to sort of tweeze off this little plastic covering on here. There we go. The chip's orientation is marked by a little dot over pin 1, and so that goes to the top right, or in this case, top left, if we're looking at it from this orientation. So I'm going to sort of just hold it down. This is definitely a bit of a pain because I've tinned the contacts to make this easier. However, that also means that there's a little bit of doming that where the solidified solder is holding these legs a little bit off of the board, which when the solder melts is going to be a bit of a pain. And it just makes it harder to place the thing accurately, and also makes it a little bit weirder when you're actually doing the soldering. Okay. I'm gonna trust that. Oh no! This might go off camera for a second because I'm really trying to juggle a bunch of things here. Get it to stay in place. Arrgh! Angry noises. Okay, I'm gonna do this down on the table. It's gonna be out of focus for a second, but just bear with me. Let's see what we can do about that actually. Yeah, that's not gonna be very visible for you, but deal with it. Arrgh. There we go. Is that? So I've tack soldered one pin on. It's definitely a little bit zigzaggy. Gonna try and move that until the chip is where I want it to be. Just having one pin attached and sort of smushing the chip around. It's so frustrating having the rest of them with those little solder domes on them. Really limits my movement. And I don't want to put too much heat on it here for too long. Once I get it in place and that one pin held down, everything's gonna be so much easier. That's pretty good. Okay. Ooh, I'm working on getting a microscope so that we can see this stuff better. It'll be very exciting. And then we can take stuff apart and look at what's inside it. Which I'm always curious about. Because, like, there's all these kits and stuff, right? But you only see stuff in large scale that way. I want to see stuff on the micro scale. See how the small things are worked out. Yeah, this is not a super optimal way of doing this. Ideally, I would have a smaller soldering iron tip, but it's going okay. Famous last words. By trying to make it better, I ended up bridging something. Where is my, here we go, desoldering braid. Or, you know, the first thing I can try is to just take all the solder off of my iron and try to pull it on to the iron tip away from that. No, that's not working. Okay, let's try this. Come here. Come here. Not stable enough. I need to get a more stable third hand, I think. In case you're wondering what I'm doing here, this copper braid is very thermally conductive and will heat up quickly and pull that excess solder off onto itself. So in that way I managed to debridge this by applying, putting the desoldering braid on top of that connection and then heating it up from the opposite side with my soldering iron. This is a very kludgy job. There's a lot of extra solder on there, but it works. Who cares? So next we have the switch, which hopefully I haven't lost. Yeah, here we go. This one does have one side labeled on, so I guess I'll do it that way. But it's a switch. It doesn't really care which end is which. I mean, that only accounts for certain types of switches. If you're curious about buttons and switches, you should check out, I did a series a little while ago. What was it? Oh yeah, it was on lighting. LED strips and different types of them, but I also went into depth on different types of buttons and switches on one of the videos, so you can look that up if you like. Let's just glob that on, that'll be great. Who said this art PCB was supposed to be artful, right? Alright, so next we've got the diode. It's been so long since I did one of these. I'm really excited. I really enjoy doing these, and I think other people enjoy watching it for some weird reason. Maybe a sort of vicarious putting stuff together enjoyment. So I've just bent the legs down a little bit in one direction so that it will easily stay in place there. And easily connect. Soldering iron's a long way away. There we go. Stay in place. Go down there. And now just to sort of even things out, I'm going to keep pushing it down with the tweezers while I reposition each of the legs to try and get them to lay flatter. Grrr! There we go. Alright, so that's those three things done. What now? Oh yeah, they tell you to bend those little legs down, like you see here in the little schematic there on the right, under number 2. Wait, here we go. Right there. Okay, next step. Gonna put on the battery holder and the speaker and one of the wire offcuts. Oh yeah, this is the thing that I was telling you about. Oh, no. Why did you do that? So, the wire offcut. So I just grab a little piece of wire that I cut off of something else, throw it across to bridge that little RS thingamajig. Here. That's a little long. Gonna tin that. Grab this little guy and throw it onto there. I think I'm getting this hot enough, and I think I have enough solder on there, but I'm still not getting a very nice dome. Even if I squeeze it on, but that looks pretty okay. Alright, next is the battery holder. So, usually with things like this, you will not only tin the pads where the battery holder is going to be connected, but also put a little dome of it on here just to ensure a good connection. So let's see, which way does it go? This is often very important because you need to know which way the battery is going to go in. Often it will only want to go in one way or the other. This is an interesting choice, actually. I kind of wonder why they chose to put it this way. Oh, I see. Never mind. Because if you tried to pull the battery out this way, it would be blocked. And that's what these little tabbies are preventing it from doing. I was envisioning it backwards. So, let's tin these guys. And just throw a little bit of a dome on there. Just to help. This is going to be a huge heatsink and get very hot, so I'm not going to try and hold it in place with my fingers. Instead, I shall employ my trusty tweezers. Well, semi-trusty. My tweezers. Let's leave it at that. There we go. Just making sure that everything gets heated up so that the solder really flows onto the little tabs of the battery holder and kind of over them, so that we have a mechanical as well as an electrical connection. Good. There was one other thing in this section. Oh yeah, the speaker. Here we go. Do I need to strip this? Not really. So the little wires on this speaker are very small and thin, and the insulation is also very thin, which means that probably it'll sort of shrivel up and burn away a little bit as I solder this on, just because of the heat, which means that I'm not going to strip them extra because I don't think they need it. So how does this go on? Red wire on top, black wire on the bottom. The thing about speakers as well is that it doesn't really matter which wire is which if it's got just two wires, because the way that it acts is a diaphragm that's vibrating forward and back. You know, potentially thousands of times a second. And so it doesn't really matter, you know, the power flows one way and it moves the diaphragm one way, and vice versa. Your ear can't, you know, whether it's moving in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, you know, 2,000 times a second versus out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in 2,000 times a second, your ear really can't tell the difference. So you can sort of do whatever. So we want to pull off this sticker so it can just sit there. Boom. And we're gonna connect the little wire here. Might need to bend it by hand first. There we go. And here. I could trim these down a little bit, but I'm feeling lazy, so I'm not gonna do it. Oh, I should do it just for aesthetics. The thing is, like, once I trim it, you know, I can't untrim it, so that'll be kind of a pain if I trim it too much. But now I'm gonna trim these a little bit, or strip them just a tiny bit with my edge cutters, because again, I'm too lazy to go grab the right tool for this. But after years of putting electronics together, I have a pretty light touch with the wire cutters. That means I can sort of use them to strip things. You definitely get a sense for that. And probably the ends of these were tinned before, which is why they weren't all frayed to crap like they are now. But that's fine, they're going to be engulfed in solder, so don't really care. All right. Oh no, don't go over to the other one. Stay on your pad there. There we go. And everything will be fine. Same thing over here. Stop going every which way. Okay. Trying not to stress these wires too much. As I steer them into submission. There we go. Connected. What's next? We've got all these other resistors to do. Cool. Phototransistor, short leg indicator. Oh yeah. So short leg is going to be ground. Ooh! Doop-de-doo. Cut this guy quite short. Oh, it goes all the way through. Right, everything else is through hole. I forgot about that. Okay, cool. So we're just going to stick this guy through here. Like so, with the short leg through the short leg indicator. And pull these apart so that it's going to sit flush with the surface. We're going to take 4 of those 47k ohm resistors and attach them together. And even though it doesn't matter which way the resistors are oriented, because they're nonpolar, I will try and orient them all the same way, just for aesthetics, because people always get on my back about that. But no promises. If I get it backwards, I'm not going back. Okay. So I've just soldered together the ends of 2 of these, so I guess we're going with gold stripe down. Cool. And again, I'm just pulling these off of the tape because this is a lot of resistors to clip off when I don't have to. There we go. Solder together the pair at the gold ends. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Gonna trim those. Do those go through? No, they don't go through. They just sit next to each other. Okay, cool. So according to the diagram, these want to sit pretty close up here. In fact, that might be too long. Cut it a little bit shorter. I might just make all of the pairs right now so that I have them all cut to the same length and it'll look pretty and nice. So I'll do 2 more pairs. Again, soldering the gold ends together. And that gold stripe is a tolerance indicator. cool. Are these all going to be paired? I think maybe they're all going to, yeah. But some of them do not get trimmed. Okay. But this will help. By doing all of these at once, I help myself not have to keep track of which end is which. In case you haven't seen me do this on screen before, basically what I've done with the solder is I take it and sort of put it down on the desk and bend it upwards, and that way I have this sort of little snake of solder, like a solder snake, coming up from the desk, and that means that I can easily just bring whatever I'm working on up to it, and that way I have more hands than I actually do. Like so. If I were being more careful, I would try and put the same sort of size of solder bead on the end of each of its toes here. Maybe I'll go back and do that. Maybe I'll do it afterwards. It's already 6:30 and I have an engagement later on, so I'm going to try and get this done. We are on schedule for that, but don't want to push my luck. Okay. So I have 4 of these little pairs. This is actually very aesthetically pleasing. I can picture this as like a little bouquet, or like little tiny cattails, actually. The whole Kansas thing is coming on strong tonight, I guess. Okay, so gonna tin these 4. Oh, so much old solder on there. Okay. I should probably angle this a little bit. Angle it forward. There we go. With 2 wires, you can kind of get away with heating up both contacts at once, so you can shift them both at the same time. More than that, with like a chip or whatever, it's going to be really hard. All right, now we're going to flip over and we're going to solder that LED as well as our other little legs here. There, that's nice. These kits are so great for someone like me who has a very strong sense of aesthetics as well as electronics. They're so satisfying to put together. And I love the marriage of organic and electronic that you get with these, especially with them being so 3D. Ugh, sorry again about the sniffing. This cold should be over soon, I hope. Cute. Did I miss anything on this round? We've got the phototransistor and the little pairs of thingamajigs. Yeah, we've got all that. Oh, and the other two go on these legs. Oh, so good. So let's move on to these legs. I guess they're gonna go like this. Pardon. If y'all haven't registered for ARM Dev Day next Tuesday, you should totally do that. It's on January the 22nd, and we are focusing on building AI on ARM platforms, so artificial intelligence applications. And these just sort of come straight down at 90 degrees, huh? Okay. So we've got a bunch of cool speakers lined up for you, including Rex St. John, Laura Kasovic from Metaware. We've got Kwabena Ajman from OpenMV. We've got, who else? We've got the team from Matrix Labs, who make the Matrix Creator, a really cool platform for DIY smart assistants, voice assistants. We've got some of the people from Snips.ai, which is a privacy-focused voice assistant platform. Very cool. So now we need to attach these. How do we do this? We use our little wires here. And we, oh, cool. So I guess I should skewer one of the legs first on the bottom. I've still got a spare resistor here, which, oh, maybe that's what the deal is. Maybe the reason I didn't have that extra 220 ohm resistor, I was surprised by this little jumper wire here. It says R5, which implies that it's a resistor, right? And yet, we just put a little jumper wire across it. So presumably, that's what I'm gonna guess, is that you put the 5K, or the, whatever it is, 220 ohm resistor across there in order to cause something to change. And whether that's the frequency, or the amplitude, the loudness, or what, I don't know. But that'll be interesting to figure out. Okay, so we've got these little leggies. The resistors go on the inside, so if I'm looking at it this way, I want to do this. Or if we do it this way? No, let's do it this way. So first, I want to solder these through here. So I'm just going to trust in fate that they will sort of stay in there through friction. Yeah, cool. Appears to be working. Famous last words. Trying to get these. There we go. Just so. And I'm going to lean this up against my third hand. Cool. And I'm just holding this. Not hard enough on there to push the wire out, but enough so that it heats up the wire. And you can kind of see by the way that the solder has been drawn through and sucked onto the wires on the other side that I did get a good thermal connection. So I soldered it on this side. We've got nice little domes over there. Then we've got these nice little domes on the other side, which indicates that everything went just swell. All right, so body, the resistor wants to be on the inside, so I want him to be facing this way. So I want to do that. Oh, this is so cool. These are so ingenious. I have an endless admiration for people who do creative tech things. Okay. So however this goes, I'm going to want it to be sort of the same distance for both legs. I'm pretty happy with that. it's sort of nicely 3D. So I'm just gonna make another little solder snake here. And I'm going to, where is that? Here we go. I'm going to bring my workpiece over to it so that I can easily solder. Ow! Ooh! Not surprised that happened. Fortunately, the friction is keeping this in place, so I don't need to hold it in place with my fingers. There we go. One connection down. That's pretty good. It's getting a little grimy in there. But I can just go at that with a thingamajig later on. And so, okay, cool. We've got one of the legs attached. Time for the other one. It's gonna go on like so. Need to do a little bit of rebending. There, that's about even. Gonna pull my little solder snake up again. Try and get this, I wanna have the big lump on the inside and any related grime so that it's less visible. Oh, I did a terrible job there. Ugh. This is also fine. Doing a terrible job is totally fine. There is nothing writing on this, except perhaps my dignity. Oh, fine, I'll solder it from the outside. But I don't wanna solder it from the outside. I want it to be pretty. Let's see if I can manage to sort of squeeze this soldering iron in here. And as long as I hold it on there for long enough, I am kind of endangering the chip a little bit by doing that, but it looks pretty good. Okay. Is that it? Did we not need the other piece of wire for anything? I think that's it. Oh, the antennae, of course. Ha ha ha. Cool. Let's see. Do we just stick it through? We just stick it through and fold it over. Okay, cool. I need to chop these off. Ooh, that one actually didn't go through all the way. So what happens if I just heat this up from the other side? Will it come through? Come on. Ugh. What I should be doing is heating it from one side with the soldering iron and bringing in the solder wire from the other side. But sometimes I get a little bit lazy. There we go. Okay, let's chop those off. Not as pretty as the smooth domes on the other side, but not bad either. See that? There's the one side, and there's the other. So it goes. All right, I will need to also arrange these legs. Haha, wow, cool. How do I get... Oh, no. How do I get him to stand? I'm gonna have to... Okay. Do the other wire first. Ugh. It's about even. Bend those up. Ha 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 ha! So cute. Okay. Gotta let go of this while I solder it. I'm gonna solder it upside down so that gravity kind of holds it in place. It's basically the same thing I do with my hair when I'm drying it. I should just start a set of myths about how I do my hair. Because people always ask me, even though I think it's fairly straightforward. But I could do a lot more messing with people if I wanted. There we go. Neat. What a cute little insectoid. Let's check out how we're supposed to do these legs now. How do they have it in the image? Okay, you just sort of spread them apart. So it seems like my legs maybe are not as perfectly aligned as theirs, but he does stand. Or she. So cute. So I think it's time that we put a little battery in here and saw what it could do. Where's my other battery that might work? I've always got a bunch that are sort of like in questionable status. Oh, I can pull it out of this one. This is another Boldport Club project, the bingo or binary counter. Wait, is this out of... I forget if this has like an on-off switch somewhere. Oh, turn on. No, it must have been left on at some point. Oh well. Here's a fresh one. Okay, let's put this in and see what I can do. I'm so excited. Hopefully it'll go. So what do I need to do here to make it happen? To assemble, taking it further. How do I turn it on? Oh, there's a switch. Duh! I soldered an on-off switch on it. Okay. Oh, I might have made that switch a little hard to access. It is making noise. So, I know that I have light sources somewhere around here. What if I just turn it towards the lamp? Oh yeah, it's definitely speeding up. What a cute thing. Wow. Oh, I actually love the noise it makes. It's not too hard and like annoying sounding. It's just this very cute little sort of throbbing noise. Hey, stop. Stop falling over. If I bend that leg down, A, it'll stand better, and B, I can get to the on-off switch better. Great. Bend, bend, bend. Oh, I love it! This is great. My text is going to go all wonky if I do this, but it did go all wonky. Go over there, text. Close enough. I want you to see this in its full glory because the desk cam doesn't always do the best job. Here we are. The gorgeous, what is this one called again? The Conehead from Boldport Club. So exciting. it's so cute. I love this thing. This is gonna keep our monarch in very good company. So, happy Throwback Thursday. Hope you enjoyed seeing this thingamajig get assembled, just like old times. I love having new little cute circuit PCB arts around. If you think that you could make something that would be equally awesome or even awesomer, I encourage you to join our contest called Badge Love, which is happening now until I think February the 28th or so. I can check on that. My entire setup is wonky at this point. But let's see how long it goes. It closes on February 28th, 2019. You can check the description to this video for the links of what we've all been talking about. Let's see if there's any questions or comments before we close. What is the club again? It's an art PCB kit club, basically, where you get to assemble beautiful things like this on a subscription basis, one per month. And the format of the club has just super changed because of a couple of factors, which are detailed in SAR's blog post that we talked about at the start of the episode. And you can find out the future of the club and what it holds on that blog post. Which soldering iron am I using? I'm using a Weller WES51. I should put a thinner tip on it so that I'm able to solder with more precision and not constantly be complaining about how large my soldering iron tip is. Like, at least in that way it would make the broadcasts better, but well, that's what we're working with right now. Goodness, it is almost a badge. That's true, it is almost a badge. If you're interested in badges, you should check out the Badge Love contest. How's that for a response? And everyone else just says hi, hello, and goodbye. Have an awesome rest of your Thursday, an awesome rest of your week. Happy Throwback Thursday, happy soldering, and hack on. Ciao.